Hi there, I'm Eddie Matthews from the Stratford and District Chamber of Commerce. And, starting a franchise business is very much like starting your own business from the ground up. And Ray MacNeil is here. He's from FranchiseFun Consulting and is here to answer those questions for anyone interested in going that route. Ray, it's always good to see you. How have you been?
I've been good, thanks, Eddie. I hope you've been good as well.
I've been
This year's,
trying. I've
gone
been
by
trying.
very, very
It's
fast.
Yeah, no, and here we are, and we're already into February, and that I've seen.
Exactly.
I've seen the expansion of because ever since I've met you, I've been watching, all these different franchises popping up. So I've seen places like Tahini's and Wild Wings just emerging like crazy in that. Those are restaurant, but I know that there's probably a ton of other type of franchises out there. And I'll throw this question at you first. Can there be, when we see the expansion of those type of restaurants and, the fast food franchises, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Can there be too much saturation, or is it a good thing
Mm.
from a branding standpoint that people see a lot of these type of franchises popping up?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and you really got two parts to it there that come from different angles. Saturation is a question, in fast food in particular, because we see it everywhere. Do we really need another fast food restaurant? It's kind of the response that as consumers we say to ourselves all the time. I live in a small town, as you know, Eddie, and we've got three pizza places, and I
Mhm.
keep saying, do we need another pizza place? They all do well, so I guess we
Yeah,
do, right?
yeah.
The reality is, as long as there's a market, there's an opportunity, and carving out your path in that market tends to come down to differentiation. So, if there's a new franchise brand or a new fast food coming into the market, it's not necessarily a question of saturation as much as it is what's their differentiation, right? What makes them different, and if they've got that question answered, then they're probably going to do well.
Mhm.
I don't remember the second part of your question, but from a branding perspective, there's never enough franchisees. There's never enough signage, if you will. The more the better, the more the merrier, as they say, because the idea is it's top of mind awareness, right? So if I see that brand, like the Golden Arches at McDonald's, on every corner,
Mhm.
and I get hungry, somewhere along my journey, chances are the Golden Arches are going to once pop up in my head because of that top of mind awareness. I see the brand everywhere. So more franchisees, more feet in the street, the more the brand is out there. The reality is it means more business for all the franchisees, not just the one.
Interesting. How can you find out what franchise is suited for you? Is it because you've got an interest in that type of a franchise or what they're trying to sell, or how do you find out what could be best suited for you if you want to go that route of
Mm.
getting a franchise?
Yeah, that's also interesting. Most people, when they start a search for a business, tend to look at it in one or two ways. Fast food is a great example of when they think of franchise and they think, oh, it must be fast food or it must be convenience stores or gas stations because they see those everywhere. They think that that's franchising. The reality is, and you and I have talked about this, there are 3,000 possibilities of franchises out there, 300 different industry sectors in a variety of different verticals. So you name the business, the industry, there's probably a franchise in there. And so it's a daunting task to try to find a franchise that's well suited for you from so many choices. So most people tend to look at fast food, even though that might not be their background. And it might not be the right fit for them either. It's just because that's what they see every day and that's where they tend to look. And so they go on the internet and they do a Google search and they look at those kinds of things. Whether it's a good fit or not, if they look at it from their background, so if I've been working in construction, for example, they might look at construction type franchises, but um, you're not going to be the trades guy in your own business. You're going to be the CEO in your business. So you need to look at the role you're going to play in that business, which is probably different than the role you would play as an employee that you've been, in that role for the last 20, 30 years. So when I work with potential franchisee candidates, I look at what skill sets they're bringing to the table, where do they want the business to operate in, what is their investment budget, but I also want to look at what role they want to have in that business. Do they want to be the owner or operator working with the tools and driving the truck, or they want to be the CEO in that business, have somebody else do the business, do the work, deliver the product and service for them. So all those things need to be answered, and I help with that.
Yeah. And I assume there's a different franchise fee, whether you're like a sub shop or a burger chain, correct?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. There's they call the initial fee. Another way of looking at it, Eddie, is you can call it a licensing fee, which is essentially giving you the license to use their brand, to access their systems and technologies, and to deliver their products and services in a designated market, right? But when I talk to franchisee candidates, I say, don't look at just the initial fee. You got to get that business open. You got to get it launched. You got to survive for the first year to the business create some momentum, and it's paying you in that business. So I always say, look at the all-in cost, not just the initial franchise fee. And so typically, if you look at all the operational costs and all of that, look at this as the worst case scenario. You don't want to stress over whether you got money coming in, but if you don't need it, that's good. But if you do need it, you got it, right? And so look at the all-in cost for the first years. That is what I always recommend.
Yeah,
That'll
interesting.
vary.
Yeah, the pros and cons, if you wanted to get into that aspect, I guess you have to look at the little things. If you're going to open up some of the, like the franchise coffee shops, most of these places are open 24 hours a day, which means you're going to have to staff it and those type of things. Is that what you need to look at? Is that what someone like you can offer me if I'm looking at trying to set up a franchise?
Well, and I think that's a good example. I mean, there are franchise opportunities out there that have no employees at all, right? And I talk to some people going, Ray, I've been managing, employees for years at a senior executive level, and I'd like a franchise that has no employees. Been there, done it, don't want it, right? I look at, we fast food chain. I hate to pick on, donut chains, for example, Eddie, great franchises, I'm sure, but I've seen many people become a franchise owner of a donut franchise only to find out that their role in that business is of an HR person. Mm-hmm. They're constantly, recruiting and hiring mm-hmm. and training. The employees has a high turnover. If they'd known that was going to be their role in the business, they would never have bought the business, right? So I need to spend time with them to find out and make sure they know what their role is going to be in that business. Do they have the strengths and do they understand, what weaknesses they have? Are they right for that franchise? If they're not, I'm going to tell them, right?
Yeah.
And find the right business for them.
You brought up a good point earlier on, and here we were talking about fast food, but you said some of the hottest franchises out there right now: senior care, kids after school activities, and pet care. You mentioned that, and I go, you know what? I've seen so many pet care type of franchises or businesses opening up.
Yep.
And like you said, though, it's a world of opportunity out there.
Yeah, and that's the diversity I'm talking about as well. There's a variety of options out there. Don't limit yourself to what you see, on your car ride. It's not just about fast food. Franchising can mean so many different things to so many different people. Pets, yes, it's crazy. People love their dogs, especially their dogs, right? Anything dog related, believe me, it is hot. And the ones that the sector I'm seeing the real growth in both the United States and Canada is in pet grooming, right? So grooming of your pets is huge. Senior care, I'm a baby boomer. Mm-hmm. You and I talked about this. I'm staring down that corridor to my private room pretty soon, right? And so senior care the options are varied as well, from in-home care to to full-blown facilities where you put your parents into a full-time medical care facility kind of thing, right? To almost like a placement firm. There are franchises that actually will help you find somebody just for a day, right? And so and everything between. Beyond that, pet care, senior care, there's fitness and health and wellness and beauty. There's a whole variety of stuff.
Isn't that incredible? So, after going through all of that, how do we get a hold of you? How can we find out, exactly what you do and how you can help me find a franchise that is perfect for me?
Yeah, I took the liberty of writing some stuff on my whiteboard. Not sure if you can see it there with the lighting in here is not the greatest, but I would recommend go to my website. I've got an abundance of information resources on my website, which is FranchiseFunConsulting.com. And one of the things I when I work with somebody for the first time, so just someone who's new to franchising, one of the things I want to find out from them is how much they know about franchising. They understand the concept of franchising, why a franchise could be good for you, why a franchise might not be right for you. So that leads to the next bullet there: know thyself, right? Are you comfortable following a proven system? If you're not, franchise might not be the right avenue for you to follow. Right? What is your motivation to succeed is also just as important. Business is not easy, right? So franchise makes it a little more predictable because you got others who've been there, done it, and you're going to kind of follow in their footsteps. But the reality is you're going to have to get up out of bed every morning and make that business work. So you need something to motivate you. What is that motivation? Is it your family? Is it your dreams? Is it your goal? What are you aspiring to? I'm seeing, for example, in the last few years, more and more people are saying to me, Ray, I want a franchise today to pay for me in my retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's a retirement strategy. It's a retirement plan. I'll maybe work the business for 3, 4, 5 years now full time, but my plan is to have somebody run the business for me later and pay me, because I'm the business owner, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know where cost of living is going to be. I don't know how expensive it's going to be, and I don't have enough money set aside to support me in my senior years. So I'm going to buy a business today. So we're seeing that happen a lot as well. So once I know you and understand your if you're a fit for a franchise, then I'll help you find the right franchise for you.
Fascinating conversation. Love to find out more about what you're doing and more about this type of thing. So if we want to find out more, best way, just Google Franchise Fun Consulting. And it's right behind you, FranchiseFunConsulting.com. See, I can read that. My eyes are okay still. That's good.
You don't need senior care yet, Eddie. That's good.
Ray, it's always great to talk to you. Thanks for this, and we'll get
Appreciate
out
it.
soon, and we'll do this again, I hope. Okay.
You got it. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Thanks. That's Ray MacNeil joining us. I'm Eddie Matthews from the Stratford and District Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for watching.